welcome back to CADS, where today's topic is so hot it might just steam up your screens. We're talking about Tottenham's electrifying performance at Aston Villa, where BJ absolutely blew expectations out of the water. But don't worry, we're keeping it classy here while diving deep into how Spurs managed to slide in a few and come out on top in a display that left fans panting for more. It was a match that truly tested the boundaries, proving that sometimes to clinch victory, you have to play hard and fast. So join us as we peel back the layers of this thrilling encounter, revealing just how Tottenham nailed the execution and left us all a little flushed with excitement. Let's get started. So we have 4 of us here tonight. Maybe somebody will be joining us later. But I am joined by Ashley. Please say hello.
Hey, mates. How are you all doing? Come on, you Spurs.
David.
Hello.
And late to the party, but always very welcome, Austin.
Hi, guys.
All right. So this one should be a little bit more enjoyable than when we did the one straight after the Wolves game. How did everybody enjoy that? Let's start with Austin.
I absolutely enjoyed it. I'm looking back from post-game to the whole game, and I noticed in the first half, and people are critical of the first half, saying we controlled the game but didn't create very much. But what we did do is break out of defence absolutely brilliantly. I noticed there were triangles between the centre-backs and the full-backs, and they were absolutely superb and very, very confident in actually passing into a tight space and then passing into an unmarked space and then getting out. And I was really impressed with that. And then in the second half, when we took control, what a game. Absolutely superb.
Excellent. David, what were your thoughts after that?
Absolutely loved it. I have the opposite of the hump, whatever that is. I really enjoyed it.
The dent?
Same with Austin. Although the first half was frustrating because we couldn't get like clear chances, we were pretty dominant for about the first 20 minutes, and then they came back into it for about 10 minutes. But they weren't really causing us a lot of trouble. Special mention, I thought, Brennan Johnson from the very first minute was excellent. He caused them a lot of trouble with his running, but I also thought he did which I haven't seen him do in other matches. I thought he did a great job pressing, tracking back. He really did a job. So yeah, first half, I think we exhausted them, and I think we were probably a bit surprised that they set up with 5 at the back, and they played what I looked to me like it was quite a low block for much of the game, and I did have a little bit of a worry that we're going to struggle to break it down, but they still wanted to play a little bit, and when teams want to play against us, then we'll always finish up having chances and getting shots away, and that's what happened in the second half. In the second half we were just unplayable. So, some of the players put in fantastic shifts, and I was delighted, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we'll come to the man of the match conversation later, but it was quite interesting that when the question was posed on Coy's, that it was split across quite a few names. But yeah, as I said, we'll talk about it later. Ashley, what were your immediate thoughts after the game?
Good points there, Dave. On I thought, wow, we're gonna have a game where both teams will be playing open, but Villa looked like, maybe because they played on Thursday, Villa looked like they did have sort of 5 men at the back, a low block. So I felt exactly the same thing. But anyway, overall impression on the game, I don't know what you guys felt, but it felt like those first 10 games, that's what it felt like when we just bamboozled and overran, like roughshod, is that the term? Ran roughshod over.
Yeah.
Also, first time Maddison has scored since October, and he was such an important part of those early 10 games, which I was saying, well, throw out those first 10 games, let's look at what we've done since then. So let's hope the last 11 games, well, 12, including this one, are more, or the last 11 are more like this particular one. It'd be great to see.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game. The first half was a bit more of a struggle. As I said, the first 10 minutes, excellent. What I really did enjoy seeing was how little of a foothold Aston Villa got in that game. The game earlier in the season, we looked the better side, and I went into that feeling very, very confident. But then Ollie Watkins just managed to pull us apart and get a goal that really made the difference But that was up against Ben Davis and Royale at the back. Whereas this one, he was up against Romero and for much of the game, Van der Ven. And Van der Ven just had him in his pocket. There was one beautiful part where Watkins got free and Van der Ven just chased him down and put the block on him. And you're like, whoa, that was good. Nice one. And then can you just imagine how he felt? Van der Ven comes off and Radu Dragusin comes on and does almost as good a job because Watkins got nothing out of him either. So it was really, really impressive to see just how well our defense performed and really kept them very, very restricted in terms of chances.
I did think Aston Villa I was really disappointed with the way they set up and the way they played. I mean, I don't know whether you noticed it. I noticed them taking, what's his name, Tony Pulis style Stoke City long throws. You know, what this is like a team fourth in the Premiership and they're playing five at the back, just trying to eke out chances and taking like those infuriating long throw-ins. Not infuriating, not because it makes life difficult for the defenders, but also because they always take about 10 minutes to take the bloody throw-in. They should lose the throw-in if they don't take it in 5 seconds, you know. Anyway, so I just wanted to add that little brackets that I thought Aston Villa were not at all what I thought they were going to be.
They were kind of close to what I thought. I thought they would be a bit more attacking. But they're a solid side. I don't think they were particularly. How do I put this? They're not a weak side. They are solid, but they're not particularly dangerous in any particular aspect apart from Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
So you keep him quiet, which we did, then it can really have a knock-on effect to the rest of the game, which worked out really, really nicely for us. So there's no complaints from me on that. But there seemed very little threat from elsewhere.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Another thing I know it'll come up is that they are a nasty team. Not only Cash but McGinn, and there's something about ex-Gunner managers or present Gunner managers that I just don't like. Maybe it's a win-all-cost type thing because I don't like Arteta and certainly don't like this guy. Emery, although you can't discount the fact that he's won, I think, 4 Europa Cups. But I know Oz will say something about it because I know what he thinks about Matty Cash. It was great that Bentancur actually took him down at the end of the game. But they're just ugly. I dislike ugly teams, you know, when they probably have skill, but then they just play including the throw-ins as well, as you mentioned. Anyway. I'm glad we we should have beaten them in the first game. We really should have beaten them in the first game, you know. And when I said, they're really not that good, and we should have beaten them. So they deserve the comeuppance.
Austin, your rebuttal on that?
I'm with Ashley all the way. I thought they were dirty. The ref gave us nothing in the first half. They should have had 2 or 3 bookings in the first half. And I was so frustrated. But by the same token, I was actually really delighted with the way we controlled the game and that we kept the ball and we passed it out. And I thought we were generally impressive. Then in the second half, we scored relatively quickly. And Maddison, that was a super goal by Maddison. The work behind Kulusevski and I think it was probably Porro before he released Sarr, was absolutely sublime. And when you looked at Sarr running onto that ball, I thought, look at the legs on that man.
Yeah. And
he does remind me of Patrick Vieira. He's just got such a stride on him and such an athletic way of playing. I'm so impressed with Papi Sarr. And the cross and then the finish by Maddison was absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to say any more because I've said it. I'll just repeat myself if I say any more.
You've blown your load.
Came too early. That was it. You went far too early. peaked
No,
at the
no,
wrong time.
actually, you're absolutely right. Sarr is just such a wonderful player to watch when he's eating up the ground. He just covers so much ground, and he just seems to really enjoy his football as well. You know, he's superb. And you know, nice mention on Decky, who has been getting quite a sort of mixed press over the last few weeks. And even some people during that game were out digging him out quite a lot. But I thought actually he was quite instrumental in a couple of goals in his work rate. Yeah.
He had the pre-assist on 3 goals, didn't he?
Yeah,
3 of the 4.
absolutely. Well, yeah, no, 1 assist and 2 pre-assists, I think.
Yeah.
And generally fantastic work rate. And the thing about him is he keeps going for 100 minutes. Like he's just you know, he's unstoppable. So I did want to make a little mention of Kulu because he's you know, I think he's starting to divide opinion a little bit, and I thought he did really well actually.
No, I really enjoyed having him on the field and seeing what he could do. He's a really, really good player, and we've sung his praises on here so many times. He works so hard. You know, it's difficult to quantify just how important he is to this team, I believe. You know, we play better and we've got the best results when he's been on the pitch.
Interesting though that when Sonny was through and for Brennan Johnson's goal, he had a choice for his pass between Kulu, who was absolutely totally free to his right, and Brennan Johnson, where it was a little bit more of a dicey pass. It was interesting that he chose Johnson, I thought. And not a criticism, just interesting that he chose Johnson over Kulu.
I actually thought that the pass to Johnson was easier than the pass to Decky because it was on his right foot, and I think it was in his sight.
Okay, yeah.
But I accept that had he passed to Decky would have passed into an own goal. That would have been a duff on the cards. But I think the way that Sonny was positioned, I think Brennan was the obvious pass.
It really
I thought the interesting thing was after the match, Ange was interviewed and he said all 4 of those goals were things that we've worked on in training. So clearly that pass to Brennan was something that they'd worked on, and that's what he looked for. How on earth you work on a goal like the first one? I mean, is Pap pulling out balls like that in every single training session? Because that was a sumptuous cross. I've not seen a better cross than that in a very long time.
Yeah, Maddison didn't, you know, they must have worked on it, guys, because on the replay, you watch Maddison, he runs straight through without breaking stride, because he was obviously anticipating the cross. And I went, oh, that's pretty good. And as I mentioned to Stu earlier, he's a little guy, and he stole in between those 2 center backs. So it must have well been that they practiced this, you know, which is great. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
small guy, big personality.
When you think about it, that's the sort of cross that Harry Kane has put in time and time again in the last 2 or 3 seasons.
That ball was very Kane-like.
In the DNA of the club, I think.
No,
and just while we're on crosses, one thing that because Sarr, he ran onto that and he more or less, I think it was a first time cross, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think he might. I'm not sure if he had a touch to push it out in front of him.
No, I think he set himself and then just hit it first time.
Yeah. Now, there's one player that I think is absolutely fantastic, and I'm not digging him out at all, but I wish Porro would hit first-time crosses a little more often. Porro always wants 1 touch or 2 touches, and his crosses almost always get closed down. And he's got such a fantastic foot on him that he could do that. He could do that too, and I would like to see him do it more often. He very rarely crosses first time. I'm trying to find some things to criticize, and I've got a couple of other things up my sleeve as well. You know, it's hard to find things, but I just wish Porro would first time it a bit more often.
Well, you guys,
when he does do it,
first game back, it was fantastic.
Decky, if I may, Decky, we love his effort and everything and stick-to-itiveness. If he can just have a little bit more confidence on 2 things, use his right foot, because he has scored a couple of goals with his right foot.
Yeah.
And if he can do that Bale thing, or what Foden did a couple of weeks ago, when you come in from the left, you basically only beat 1 man, and take that left-footed shot, because he did that in the first season, and he's got it in his. I think if he adds that to obviously what he is, an assist and 2 pre-assists, he's going to be super important for us. If you can just step it up slightly, right-footed shots and a little bit more, well, just shots in general,
Yeah, that shot that he was doing with his left foot from just the corner of the penalty area that he was doing last season, he's not doing it anymore, is he? Sonny's not doing it from the other side either, actually. It's interesting. It's almost as if there's a decision from the Tottenham coaches not to try those possibly lower percentage shots anymore. Or opposition teams have like wised up to it and don't let them get into that position.
Yeah, I think Kulu had one right-footed shot after a brilliant piece of skill from Højbjerg. That was
fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I bet you thought Stu won't want to bring that up, but I will bring that up absolutely. A great drag back to start with, and then a little body shimmy, just completely faked out their midfielder. That guy just walked away from the ball. It was amazing to see.
It's incredible.
He just flew right past me. Like, I never knew he had that in him. So do it some more, please. Come on, let's see what you can do now. Yeah. But he went through to Sonny, who put the ball through to Kulu, who took a right-footed shot, but he got blocked.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really lovely bit of skill, a lovely bit of play as well, and that's the kind of thing I think we'll see more of. I was very, very happy to see that. This game was one where everything seemed to come together for once.
Do you think we can carry this through now for the last 11 games, or is it hopefully not just a one-off, that we've actually got a little bit of chemistry going, and apart from Van de Ven going off, we've basically got everybody. Do you think we can keep it going?
I believe, I've not looked at the fixtures myself, but the general opinion is we have an easier run-in than Aston Villa do. So,
but I think it's more about the level of the performance, actually, right? And I think, I think the question is, it's a good question. Did we just pull out all the stops and next week we'll be back to like we were against Wolves? Or are players coming back into form, players getting over injuries, getting back to I think it's the latter. I'm hoping it's the latter. Yeah.
Yes.
I would agree with that. I think it's the latter. I think where some of the passing, some of the one-touch passing yesterday was the best I've seen all season. And I think you've got players that the players we lost through Asia or AFCON or injury or suspension are now getting back and getting to the point where they're confident. And I think some of the football yesterday, particularly in the second half, but I don't think we were bad in the first half. I thought it was sublime. I thought some of the understanding that we showed in terms of how we kept possession was first rate.
Yeah, we used the ball really, really well. Probably smarter than we have in quite some time. And as Ash said earlier on, it was a throwback to the kind of stuff we saw at the start of the season. And I really hope this is what we're going to see in the last 11 games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although I don't think Fulham is going to be an easy match. Fulham seem to almost not got our number, but they seem to have a good handle on how to play against us. So hopefully we'll blow them away as well on Saturday and be the start of a nice little run.
Villa did play on Thursday, so we can't discount the fact that they were leggy, and we would have been the same. And I think that somebody had mentioned Ange was aware of that, and we got that high press going because you know what, we're going to tire them out, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So we had that advantage. We definitely had that advantage of not having played it in the middle.
Yeah, I think I heard someone say that was Aston Villa's 41st game of the season.
Yeah,
and we'll probably have played 41 games by the end of the season.
We can play no more than 40. We can't play any less. We can't play any more than 41 games. And that was their 41st game already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah, they've gone further in the cups. They've got Europe as well. So it all adds up for them. And it's no surprise they were a little bit leggy at times, but at the same time, I don't think they could live with us for portions of that match. And you could see it. They were getting frustrated, and that's that's kind of what led to McGinn. Now, I'm actually a bit of a fan of McGinn. I think he's a pretty good player. Quite underrated, really. I don't think he's a guy who generally kicks out at people. That was a very, very bad challenge.
It was a bad challenge. It was a bad challenge, but I wasn't, it wasn't a particularly dangerous challenge. It was a red card, through and through, no doubt about it, red card, but it didn't feel like it was particularly malicious. It was just, as you said, he lost his head.
Dave, if his foot had stayed in the ground, if Udoka's foot had stayed in the ground, that could have been dangerous. He was just sort of jumping up. He was anticipating it. It could have been really bad. Just,
Perhaps.
You have another body, 150, 160 pounds coming at you full tilt. Bad things can happen.
Yeah.
I'd say potentially that was a more dangerous tackle than Cash's earlier in the season, except Udogie was running and not just twisting and turning, and that's what ended up with. We had a better outcome than we had with Bentancur and the Cash clash.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, talking of that, I did love seeing Brennan getting up in McGinn's face, straight into the fray. That was good. Good from Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, and then Benton Pro taking Cash down late in the game.
Oh, well, that was very mild. That was very mild.
Yeah,
he did. And Cash, you could see it on his face going, "What the fuck?"
I suspect Ange probably had a quiet word with some of the players and said, our best way of getting back at them is to beat them soundly, not to kick him and get sent off. So, yeah.
Well, there's so many
talking of that red card.
We're going to take Romero's saying Romero's going to take him out. And it's like, you can't be doing that. You put yourself at a disadvantage. Forget about it,
Talking of that red card, McGinn's now going to miss 3 matches. He is such an important player for them. For him to miss 3 matches, it's going to be huge. They're going to really struggle without him.
Good,
yeah.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, we're up against them for 4th place. We're in a race for 4th place with them. We need them to be dropping points. I mean, it's in our hands as it stands because we've got the game in hand against Chelsea. But that's not going to be an easy game with everything that goes with it. And, you look back to the other game against Chelsea we've already played this season, maybe it will be a tougher one than the league position would have you believe. Austin, what do you think?
And Stu, by the way, you're Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, right? Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. Of our 11, those 4 games. So I don't know if Villa, I think they've got 3 of those teams. They may not have all 4 of them.
I just hope.
Yeah,
because I mean, I think are they playing any of the top 3 in those 3 games when they don't have McGinn? Because of course, if you listen to Ange, we're not just playing for 4th place; we're still in the title race.
Absolutely.
So we need City to be losing points and Arsenal, and I'm being a bit ironic.
Very ironic.
Just a tad. Okay, let's have a look at their running their next 3 games. Quickly, come on. Right, so he's going to miss West Ham, Wolves, and Man City. So one of the big 3. So, but I mean, West Ham and Wolves, both of those sides are capable of causing a bit of an upset. Our run-in, what have we got coming up? So we've got Fulham, Luton, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, now then things get very difficult.
Yeah,
we've got
a headish last few games.
Yeah. Right, last few games we've got Newcastle, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and we finish with Burnley.
And Stu, you're missing Chelsea. That has to be in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, we don't.
That's got to be. We've got to fit that in somewhere as well. Yeah, it's not. We have no idea at the moment.
It's going to be. It's absolutely going to be. It's absolutely going to be at a time that does not suit us. It's infuriating. They've had all season to replan it. There's been, this is going to come like on a Thursday before we play City on the Saturday or something. You know, you just
highly
know
likely.
it.
That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man of the match.
Man of the match. I'm going to go first for once because I've already stated my case on the forum. But I went for Sonny. I think you can't go against a guy that had 2 assists and 1 goal, even if it wasn't his best game. Here, very productive, and I put him as man of the match for me. Who's going to go? Who's going to step up next?
I can't remember what I voted for on that poll on CADS, but I think I might have put Sonny for exactly the same reasons as you. But I was very tempted by Brennan Johnson because I thought he was great through the entire match. Well, until he got subbed off, but whereas Sonny really came into things in the second half. Van der Ven was a good shout, although I think he went off too early to really be eligible for man of the match, but he was great. So no, I'm going to go for Sonny.
Yeah, I think if Van der Ven stayed on and played out the full 90 minutes, he would have been up there for my choice of man of the match because he was playing so well. Yeah. And it was so important to shackle Watkins the way he did. So just put the hurt on him every chance every time he thought he was going to get away with something, put the hurt on.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
Dragoshin did really well, by the way.
He did. There was some nice balls from him. A little bit at the start, he was a little bit hesitant,
a bit iffy to begin with.
But he very quickly grew into it, and he was very quickly passing balls out from the back, and a bit more progressive in his passing than Van der Ven, where Van der Ven normally runs with the ball more. He's not a progressive passer, but he's a progressive mover. Ash, your man of the match?
It's, as you said, it's hard to not pick Sonny. By the way, he in 24 games, he has 22 goal involvements, 14 goals, 8 assists. That's Harry Kane-like. That's fantastic. It really is. So yeah, hard to not choose him. And Dave's right. Johnson, the last couple of games, his energy in the game before actually helped change the game. And he was terrific in the game. But I'm going to mention, just because I think we've got a superstar in our making. Like Oz said, maybe did he say Vieira or somebody else or Toure?
Vieira,
no, he said Vieira.
Yeah. Sarr himself has said that he models his game on Yaya Toure, and you can definitely see that.
Yeah, you can see that too. Yeah.
So I think we've got a superstar in the making, and this young guy, maybe not man of the match, but he just impressed me. Let's just say that. Oh, and one other guy, just for a laugh, one of the pundits said, that pass by Pierre-Emile Cruyff was just superb.
Yeah, that was a great cameo, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but also, you Doggy's quite a good shout as well. I mean, he was superb. And in the same way as I slightly dissed Porro, I'm going to just slightly diss Udogie because I think he's absolutely fantastic. But I wish he'd get his head up and pass when he's making those runs forward. He needs to release the ball better than he does at the moment. But apart from that, wow, what a player!
He's what, 20 years old?
Yeah, he can add
so much more to come from him.
So much more. Just if he could just get his head up and get a ball away from those runs, that would be great.
Can we speak about 11 games to go? So we don't probably know the result yet of the scan, but what if Mickey is out? Have either you guys seen enough of Dragoshin to know, can he play? I don't know.
He has to.
He's going to have to, yeah. Otherwise, bringing in Dorrington, so he's going to have to play. I'm not sure Dorrington's fit at the moment, so.
But a solid defender, great. But can he do, because Mickey does something basically no other defender does, and that is that ability to cover ground and make interceptions. Does Dragoshin, does he have that capability? I don't know.
I didn't get a feel for his pace because they were very quickly down to 10 men after Dragoshin came on, I think. So he didn't get really stretched because they were in survival mode after that. But I thought he looked tidy. He won't have Mickey van der Ven's pace, and that's just that's a fact. But you know, he has anticipation. He looked solid to me. So
From his time at Genoa, he's not the fastest player on the pitch, but his positioning is good. His ability to intercept the ball. I think he was number 1 for interceptions in Serie A before he joined us.
Really?
so he's
he
a
was
clever reader of the game.
decent reader of the game. Excellent in the air. He was number 1 for headed duels in defence. So yeah, he's all round a very, very, very good player, putting up similar kind of numbers in Serie A to when Christian Romero was there. So
Okay, fantastic. And by the way, did anyone see his post-match interview?
yeah,
Seems like a solid geezer.
good level of English.
Another guy, Dragusin.
Okay.
Seems like a good guy. And by the way, Brennan Johnson speaks really well. He's intelligent, personable. Really, I'm saying this because I really think that quite apart from the standard of players, I think the actual human standard of the players is very high. We don't seem to have a dickhead in the team.
Yeah. By the way, Dave, where is he from again? Who does he represent?
Who drags in Romania?
Oh, no, Johnson.
Born in Nottingham, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's English, but he didn't think he could get into the England team, so he chose Wales.
That's why he's got those qualities.
Same as Bale.
He's our version of Haaland, isn't he? His dad was an ex-professional footballer, trained him from a young age, you know. So he's been in that world for a very long time. His dad was in that world before him. You know, he'll have grown up around that. He'll know what the politic thing to say is.
Yeah, but also just that he was intelligent, he was personable, and I like seeing that. You know, I thought that was good. You know,
it's a very good point, Dave. That I think Ange is attracting a certain type of player. You know, even Romero. Let's face it, less dickishness than before. Would Lamella have been able to play under par?
Lamella wasn't a dick. He was wonderful. He was
amazing. Yeah.
I love Coco. I won't have a bad word said against him. Absolutely loved that player.
No, but it's a good point. There is a certain type of a player, and you do see it when they're interviewed. You know, even Timo Werner. You know, quite well spoken. You know, and funny. And they all seem to be like that. You know, it's good. At least being interviewed. I didn't see.
By the way, we didn't mention that. Well done, Timo Werner. 2nd goal in 2 games. Took his chance absolutely perfectly. Is he getting over his yips in front of the goal?
I think this may be a controversial take. I think Timo Werner is a player who scores goals when he's not given the chance to think.
Yeah, definitely.
If he's given the chance to consider what he's going to do, like when he's through one-on-one, he double guesses himself. He gets in his own head, and it messes up. But if you've got a situation where it's down to muscle memory and technique, and just boom, do it, he'll be as dangerous as anybody in the league, I suspect, because that was a really crisply hit shot, very nicely done, and he didn't have time to think about it. Now you need to make sure he's getting in positions where he's going to be fed that ball, and he just needs to hit it first time and not take a touch and think about what he's going to do.
Good point. Do you think it's too early to say whether or not he might be worth a punt to keep next season?
I think at 15 million, it would be kind of stupid not to. He clearly seems like an Ange type player. He works hard. He's got pace to burn. Very skillful, very intelligent. He's clearly an intelligent footballer, and is going to get you some goals. Yes, he'll mess up a few. Maybe that can be coached, even though he's 27 years old. Maybe just having the backing of the right manager can get that into him. You know, obviously in Germany, in his first stint in Germany, he was knocking him in from all over the place. So.
No, I wonder whether I don't think, I've got no idea whether we should sign him or not, and I don't think we need to even make any sort of thoughts about it until another 11 games have gone by, and until we know who else might be available. But he seems like a good fit as a person, and he's definitely got something about him. Well, I wonder whether he shouldn't have some sports psychology. I don't know whether because it's in his head.
Yeah.
The solution is in his head. It's not. He's technically really good. So, can you go and see Richarlison's shrink?
We scored 4 goals without Richie yesterday.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Richie came back after the operation, but also after seeing a psychologist and banged in 9 in 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was, I think potentially it was being out of pain that made the real difference for him, because clearly he was struggling
both.
earlier on. Yeah. I've got a bit of a story about sports psychology, if you will indulge me.
No.
Back when I was younger, many years ago, I actually went over to Torquay United because my dad is a psychotherapist. My father is a psychotherapist. So I went over to Torquay United, who were my local football team. And I went to their desk and I said, "Can I have a word with your manager, please?" And they went, "Oh, the general manager." "No, not the general manager, the football manager." And they were like, "Why?" And I said, "I've got a proposition for you." And I was like 17 or something like that. So I went and had a chat with them, and they were actually interested. Give them some credit; they were interested, and ended up with me and my dad going and talking to Torquay United and their strikers and seeing potentially what could be done. The downfall of sports psychologists is you need to have someone who's interested in football and knows a little bit about it, because my dad has no interest in football and knows nothing about football. God bless him. And some of the stuff he was coming out with, you could see their eyes rolling back in their heads. It's like, what is this guy on about? Like,
tell me about your mother.
No, more along the lines of, sometimes it would be easier if you hit the crossbar and scared the crap out of the opposition. I'm thinking, if you can hit the crossbar, score a goal. And I'm pretty sure they were thinking the same thing. So believe it or not,
but
we didn't get a call back from Torquay United on that.
Yeah.
But
but I'm assuming sports psychologists are specialized in sports. I know it's in the name.
Depending on the sport,
and probably, I'm sure Werner's seen someone, but I just wonder whether that's because it's all in his head, isn't it? Clearly,
I'm sure it is. I'm sure there are. We have a number of confidence players. I would put Brennan Johnson in that, and I think his confidence is rising. I think we have some players who, no matter how low on confidence they are, they'll still put in a hell of a performance, and I would put Ben Davies in that category. Another player I put in the confidence bracket is Emerson Royal. I think Emerson Royal, when he's confident, is a much better player. So yeah.
There's an interview with him and Richarlison online at the moment, talking about when he was getting booed by the Tottenham fans and stuff. Interesting read. Yeah,
there's an interview with Brennan Johnson as well, where he's talking about some of the backlash he's received from some Spurs fans recently, and how he's pushed through it. And I'd say he's come out on top. He's done very well. He's really started to show his value.
Yep. Agreed.
Okay. Go on, Ash.
By the way, these are YouTube, or are they stories? Where would I find them?
It was written. I can't remember. I think it was. It might have been on Football London. If you look on Football London, if you can put up with their absolutely dire interface,
clickbait, ads.
I'll send you a link to it if I find it, Ash.
Spurs Play have interviews with Redu Dragishin, Brennan Johnson, and Ange, which I believe you can also find on YouTube. So
yes, thank you.
Okay, so one more bit of business before we close out the show tonight. We've talked about players that have played for both clubs last week, and I did say in the forum earlier it might be worth watching the intro video because there are a few named in there. But let's see who comes up with the best name for players. The biggest, the highest profile name that's played for both Aston Villa and Tottenham. Let's see who can come out on top. Get one name each, and I will be the adjudicator.
David Ginola.
David Ginola is a great start.
Yeah, I was going to say Ginola as well.
Well, that one's already taken, Ash, so it's down to you. You get to think further back. I say there's one that's even further back.
Can I get a clue? Can I get a lifeline? Phone call?
You can call a friend.
Northern Ireland International.
Northern
Sorry?
Ireland. Oh.
Northern Ireland International, I believe. Let me quickly check. Yep, Northern Ireland footballer, football manager, and journalist.
Jeez.
Captain Tottenham.
Jeez.
You have to think quite some way back, before my time.
Yeah, I'll know it when you say it. Can't remember.
I know who it is, but I can't put the name
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
off the tip of my tongue.
yeah. Yeah, this is the same as your Anthony Gardner thing last week.
I know,
Right,
but
okay.
it was. Actually, it was. I hate you.
Okay, so I would say this is just a personal opinion, and I didn't get to see him play because I was not even born. But I would say the biggest name of all the players that have played for both Tottenham and Aston Villa is Danny Blanchflower.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I was
No,
thinking
that
it.
wasn't how I was thinking of. I didn't get it at all.
Not him.
I'm honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he played for them between 1951 and 1954 before signing for Spurs and having 10 years, 337 appearances for the Lily Whites.
Good.
There you
Cool.
go.
Robbie
Wow.
Keane. I have found it hard to choose between Robbie Keane and David Ginola there.
Robbie Keane.
So I love
Robbie
me a bit.
Keane.
I love me a bit of Robbie Keane.
Yeah, joined them in 2011. Played 6 games for them. Okay. And for us, 2002, played 261 games, scored 100 goals. He did all right. He did okay. You know, one of those.
He was lovely, Robbie Keane.
Yeah, boyhood club. It was definitely one of his boyhood clubs. But some other names. Okay, I'll tell you what, you will win double points if you can name one Tottenham Hotspur women's player that has played for both clubs.
Know nothing about women's
Yeah,
football.
me neither. I'm absolutely terrible on the women's team. Right, okay, so let's go quickly. Darren Bent, Colin Calderwood.
He plays women's football.
Well,
I know. Oh, yeah, because he played against
Colin
Sandra.
Calderwood, Tom Carroll,
Hmm.
Peter Crouch, Brad Friedel,
Right.
David Ginola, Pierluigi Golini. I'd completely forgotten he played for them as a youngster. Yeah, he played 0 games. Well, 0 starts, 20 minutes. He only played 20 minutes in his career. Okay. Alan Hutton.
So his playing career at Villa was like his managerial career at Tottenham.
Golini,
Hutton?
his playing career, he actually played more minutes at Aston Villa than he did at Spurs. He played 20 minutes at Aston Villa, 8 minutes at Spurs.
Okay.
Yeah, Alan Hutton, Jermaine Genius, Robbie Keane, Clement Longley, obviously current, Oyvind Leonardson, if you can remember him.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Onomar.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wayne Routledge, who we talked about last week as well.
Hmm.
Kyle Walker played on loan for them, and Luke Young. So that's the list of Premier League players that have played for both clubs. I'm sure there are others going back further, but still. Okay, let us know in the comments below if you knew any of those, and if you can name a single Tottenham Hotspur women's player that has played for both clubs. There are 3 of them, I believe. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 players. 3 names that you could come up with. So, yeah, good luck to everyone in YouTube land. And until then, come on, you Spurs.